They say you can't compare apples to oranges, but after almost 20 years with iPhone, I think I just did. If that didn't make any sense to you, I switched to a Galaxy Fold7 from my iPhone 16. Almost 2 decades with iPhone, and here we are. If you know me at all, you know I've been Team Apple since 2007. I've had every iPhone, except for that one time I switched to BlackBerry, but we're not going to talk about that. I have my AirPods Pro Max, I have my AirPods Pro, my iPad Pro, my MacBook Pro, my Apple Watch Ultra. So you could say I'm an Apple sheep. Not only do you get a 6.5-inch Dynamic AMOLED display on the outside, you get an 8-inch Dynamic AMOLED display on the inside, all in one small form-fitting factor that is thinner than your iPhone. This has to be one of the slimmest devices ever created. I've watched the teardown video about 10 times and I still don't know how they fit 2 batteries, 2 screens, and 5 cameras in this little teeny tiny device plus a fingerprint reader. It's honestly magical to watch it. Finally, this hinge has a water rating and a dust rating, so I don't feel more than terrified carrying it around in my pocket. I still have my Apple Watch on my wrist, and I still have my whole Apple ecosystem here, including one cracked donor iPhone. I get my iMessages delivered to here. I've had a relay service installed on my Mac at work that sends my messages to my Android. The most annoying thing has to be FaceTime. And not just that you can't FaceTime, that you can't screen share when you FaceTime. My partner and I like to play the New York Times every evening, and now it involves a call on my iPad, which isn't too bad, but if they bring FaceTime to Android, it's over. So let me explain to you how I was able to keep my Apple Watch cellular activated without an iPhone walking with me day to day. If you know somebody that works at AT&T, you're going to have a much better time doing this process, but it is possible. You'll still need an iPhone. It does not need to have active service, but you will need a SIM card that you can pull from your current phone to put in here, because once you trade in your iPhone to your carrier, this becomes inactive. You will need to reactivate, resync to turn on the cellular on this device. The Galaxy Fold starts at $2,000, which was also another big sticking point. But recently, Apple's pricing has been creeping closer and closer to that $2,000 mark, and I'm getting half of the device for that price. So that was pretty much what cemented my switch. If you're an everyday Apple Watch user, especially if you use it in the gym, you can still get everything done on the watch as long as it's a cellular compatible model, and you can just take it with you along with your Android phone day to day. If you wanted to take it to the next level, I did pick up the Galaxy Ring. So it is, I would say, a lot more affordable than the Aura Ring, and it gives you pretty much the same exact features. Waterproof, sweatproof, showerproof, all proof. You can pretty much wear it all the time. I haven't really noticed anything during sleep. You do see the lights flickering from time to time in the dark, but other than that, no inconvenience. So let's talk minor inconveniences. First off is AirTags. Obviously AirTags don't work with the Galaxy ecosystem. So for my most important devices, I've switched to the Galaxy SmartTag 2 for my car keys, and there's one in my bag, and I plan to get one for my wallet. They can still be found on my Apple Watch, but I prefer to have that ready and available on a screen that's in my hand. Apple TV, there is a few remotes on the Google Play Store that'll let you control your Apple TV, so that wasn't a big headache. I guess that sums up most of the frequently asked questions I've gotten since switching to Android. I've had the phone about a week, so if you have any questions or want me to make a video on how the software is pretty much identical to iPhone, just let me know.